What is up, guys? This is Jared Spalding here, and today what I'm going to be talking about is avoiding precious metal hype, and furthermore, not following what all the other investors are doing. That doesn't mean, of course, because if you did that and didn't follow what anybody did, then obviously you wouldn't even be able to invest because there's other people that are doing that. But what I mean is just avoiding, the hype that's going on, and just not following the crowd, because whenever the media jumps onto precious metals and overvalues them, that's when a lot of people lose. It's kind of like, the gold rush almost. A few people pocketed a lot of money and everyone else lost a lot of money, and sometimes even their lives. Of course, that won't really happen with precious metals, but you get the point, I'm assuming, in the fact that very few are going to be winning in this situation, but the ones that do are going to be making money off of everyone else who's losing. And that's what a lot of people did do in the gold rush situation is, boom towns would come up and people, like economies would, for certain towns would go up a lot, those boom towns because of all the commerce that was suddenly going on there. All the trading and just buying of goods that was going on in the town that never would have existed if it weren't for the gold rush. Of course, everyone who was coming in was losing a lot because they weren't finding any gold, and the ones that did, were already out of there at that point. And that's what you really want to do with precious metals, because, and here's what I'm going to be talking about here, the bubble situation, which is caused, of course, by the media. And a bubble, if you don't know already, if you haven't seen any of my videos talking about it, is simply when, in this case for precious metals, let's say, for some reason, the media has decided that precious metals are, the next big thing, the next stock market or the next real estate, because all of a sudden the media is, instead of silver and gold being undervalued, all of a sudden it's becoming overvalued, because people, mainly it starts when they see some people making a lot of money in it, or just precious metals going up a lot in value, then, and of course that can be caused naturally, but they'll realize that there's a lot of money to be made, and basically, it'll become it'll go on the cover of every, financial magazine and stuff like that, and people will be jumping all over it, all over the precious metals, to the point where all of a sudden their value isn't natural anymore. It's coming from people buying it way more than normal. It's not, just a normal price spike anymore. It's people jumping all over it and shooting up the price from, bringing up the demand a lot. And the supply remains the same and, dwindles down faster than normal because of all these people who are buying up the precious metals. And, just like in the gold rush situation, you want to be the first one there. You don't want to wait until everyone else is jumping on the market and then jump on, because already at that point, if you could have bought, like right now you can buy at $15.20 an ounce. I mean, of course you're going to have to pay a little bit over spot usually, but unless you find a really good deal, that's, let's just say you're buying from a normal company, right, and you're finding it's not a decent deal, but basically you're buying at around, let's say, $16 an ounce, right, as your cost average, which is pretty decent, but let's say instead you waited until everybody started jumping on it, and you hadn't really heard too much about precious metals until now, but all of a sudden you decide to throw in a bunch of money into it at $25 an ounce. It's already $10 more than you had to pay, right there. Even if you considered yourself quote unquote early, you were already way late to the party. Everyone's already there, and at this point, you've already lost the potential profit of $10 an ounce. And then, well, let's say silver peaks out at around 45, 50, let's say 50 an ounce, okay? Right now, it's even number, right? Halfway to 100. So 50 an ounce silver peaks at. And once it does this, you decide to stay on it because everyone's saying, oh, well, silver's only going to plateau for a short time. This is the best time to buy. Buying is better now than ever. And everyone's still buying at this $50 an ounce peak. But somehow the supply has managed to come back. And there's a lot more of it than before, because a lot of people who've seen this massive price spike are selling. And so many people start selling at this point, the people who are going to be making all the money, that eventually it starts to turn around. And the price goes down a little bit. And that's when the whole crowd decides to leave. They all sell all their precious metals off all of a sudden. But at that point, it's a little too late for you, because if you waited that long and you're trying to sell and everyone else is selling, then, oh man, this is not going to be a fun time when there's less people buying than there are selling, because that's what's going to happen. You're going to be forced to sell for a lot below that $50 an ounce range. Now, if you bought a 25 an ounce, maybe you'll be able to get that back for it. Maybe you'll be able to get a little bit more out of it. But chances are you're going to have to go below what the spot, silver even is. And within a few days, it's going to be completely gone from where it was before. And now we're at the bubble popping. Right after the bubbles popped, of course, is the best time to buy because all this silver just flooded the market. All these people are, looking to sell. No one's really looking to buy because they just saw how bad the market did. And that's when you want to buy, my friend. That's when you want to start buying because that's when precious metals are going to be so cheap that you can buy them at, and basically any, amount you buy them at, it's going to be a profit because, or not even that, but just basically you're guaranteed profit at this point as long as you're wise with it because after this bubble popping, you are going to be able to buy so cheap that it's going to be even below this 10, 15, 20 we're seeing out right now, well below that even, to the point where, you're pretty much guaranteed profit at that point, and that's when, since you went against the media and bought when people were selling and sold when people were buying, then, it's looking pretty good for you, because if everyone's doing one thing and you go and do the other, then it's pretty easy to do the other thing, because no one else is looking to, so there's not really much demand for it. I guess to go back to the gold rush situation, once everybody was leaving, what do you think happened to the towns? These boom towns. Sure, some people still lived in them, but a lot of people didn't, move there permanently. And once they moved out of once they moved away from the mines and from the towns and tried to go back to their families, the towns completely collapsed because they no longer had that same amount of trade going on in them anymore. And that's the same thing that's going to happen with precious metals. Everyone's going to move out of them. People aren't just going to stay in precious metals after they saw what happened, after how volatile the market was. Most people are leaving it once they're trying to sell. They're trying to make that profit that they've been hearing so much about. And that's the point where, it just completely collapses. And like I was saying, that's when you want to buy, because not only are you guaranteed a profit, but you can buy really easily. You're not going to have any trouble finding exactly what you want because every piece of silver out there pretty much going to be for sale compared to before. And that's when the really good deals can pop up. Maybe someone who invested in silver and they can't get rid of it all. You might offer them a price that's, a few dollars below spot an ounce, and maybe they'll accept it. And that's when, you can be really making a lot of money, is when you can find those good deals, because in that bubble situation, way more people invested than they normally would, so there's a greater chance of you knowing somebody personally who invested, and someone who really needs to offload the silver, and they're willing to for cheap. So, just really something to consider, definitely try to do. I personally, haven't been investing long enough to actually see a bubble like that form. The most interesting thing I've seen is this price almost collapse recently. I wouldn't say, it's not like the worst, the lowest price that we've ever seen before, obviously, because silver at one point was at like $1 an ounce, and you could literally pick up, silver dollar coins for $1 a piece. So obviously, that wouldn't be exactly $1 an ounce, but there used to be a point where the face value of our currency was greater than the actual silver content of it. And so obviously silver, is never going to be as low as it was then. You never really buy silver for under $1 an ounce or anything crazy like that. But, this price dropping that I've seen is probably the most interesting thing I've seen since I started investing in late 2014. Yeah, around towards the end of 2014, I believe it was, I started investing in, I believe, September 20th, I think was my first, and I bought. And what I bought was this bar and this bar. These were my two first silver bars ever, these two 1 ouncers. And ever since then, I've really just enjoyed silver investing and done as much as I can. But I'm still waiting for that next, bubble to form. And that's when a lot of people are going to be losing money, and the few that make the money are making a lot of money. So that's honestly my reasoning why you should try to avoid, the whole media hype, because most people who are just following the trends are going to end up losing out. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is it for this one. Peace, love, and much respect.